Hey gang, welcome to the Gray State. What do I have going on here today? Well, today is going to be tactical arts and crafts. And the reason I'm doing this, it's one of those things, probably we all get some patches that don't have the cool tactical hooks on the back from Velcro, right? And we've always wanted to do it. Maybe we have some takeoffs from old uniforms that were actually stitched on or embroidered on, and you want to get it and make them kind of update them a little bit, maybe use them as morale patches, stuff like that. So I've seen some really good applications of doing it. I mean, obviously the big one is if you go out to a seamstress and have them actually professionally do it, that's a good way. I have had some terrible luck in the past, like everybody, we've probably trying to go on down that path of just getting some of the self-adhesive Velcro from, you know, like any of the hobby stores or anything like that. And I find that after a period of time, the adhesion just wears off. Maybe it's because of heat and all these other things, or the application process. And if you go out to Amazon, you get this stuff called Secure Stitch. It's pretty powerful stuff. It's a permanent bond. They give you a little kit. It's like $20. I'm going to put it in the link to this. You go out and get some decent Velcro also from Amazon. I got it here in 6-inch sheets so that it can accommodate the width of the patches, and we can do a couple of them at a time. I'm going to put the link to this down in there as well. This is all just DIY, guys. And then just some household items. I mean, really easily, you need a couple of good wood clamps. Not some, you don't need as nice as these Bessies. I used to do woodworking and I still have them. These are like 600 foot-pounds. Of pressure. You don't need that. All right. A good pair of shears to actually cut through the Velcro. Velcro is tough, especially when you get the heavy duty stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Leatherman Raptors. These are trauma shears. I'm imagining you could probably use kitchen shears, garage shears, any of that kind of stuff. Or if you just have a pair of heavy duty scissors around, it'll probably work. We're not going to use these to cut the actual finished product. We're going to use a knife for that. Okay. And that's going to be part 2 when we come back tomorrow and we see how these things have set up overnight. And then a couple of flat boards. I'm going to choose to use cutting boards. You can honestly go out and get a couple of you can get a 1x8 that's pretty flat, something like that. The whole idea here is that we just want to have a nice even pressure. Is thinking about pressing this stuff together, letting the adhesion sit to the Velcro. All right, so that's all we really need. The only other thing, I'm not going to put anything down here. I like living dangerously, but if you're thinking about maybe putting this stuff anywhere else, you might want to possibly think about maybe putting something down so you don't get this permanent bond all over the place. All right. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to make sure that your patches are of decent quality. They have no dirt on the back of them, anything like that. These two, this one I cleaned up. This one is brand new. This one, if you guys are wondering, it's the Archangel Michael. He's the patron saint of police and first responders. So it's kind of a cool patch that I like. And I'm going to be putting some hook on the back of this one and doing it up. And this is a takeoff from one of my old uniforms. It was originally embroidered on. It was not glued on. And so I'm going to do the same treatment, obviously, with this video. So these are the 2 guinea pigs that I've decided to do here and kind of show you guys how to do this. All right. All right. So now let's talk about the Secure Stitch just a little bit more. So when you buy the kit off of Amazon, it's like I said, it's like $20. You're going to get 2 different tubes here. You got one that's basically meant just for fabric, and you've got one that's meant for synthetics. And because these are wax backed, I tend to go for the one with synthetics. Okay, so in the kit you get a couple of applicators so that you can use it for permanent bonding, like I don't know, stuff somewhere else. But you also get this little silicone brush. All right, the key thing with this stuff is you don't want to overdo it. We're going to set this stuff up. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to set ourselves up for success. All right, so I've got the Velcro here. All right, it's taped. Knife, cut through this. Okay. We're going to figure out how much we actually need. This is not rocket science, all right? So I want to get just enough here that I'm not being wasteful, because we're going to cut these things out later. So for me, I look at this here, I'm going to need about, I don't know, just a few inches. Whatever you guys do, I don't need to spell this out, all right? And we're going to get this stuff here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut these out. All right, so now I've got my hook fabric. I'm going to put the other stuff aside because we don't need it. This stuff that I picked up here, it's really hard to find actually just the fabric back stuff. So this already has a heavy duty adhesive on it. This stuff tends to go right through it and just bonds right through it. So I'm not too worried about my past experience. Now, as you guys can see here, the reason for these boards though is kind of obvious right now, because when this stuff comes, you get it in a roll. This makes it super not cool for doing the patches, because what happens is just this amount of roll in it, even if you try setting it out overnight, you're going to get some issues with it starting to peel off and roll. That's why it's really important that you actually have 2 flat boards, and you can go out online and get something, or go to like Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever and probably get something. All right, so for this part, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Secure Stitch here, the one that's a synthetic, You just want to put a little bit on here. You don't want to overdo it, all right? Because if you overdo it, it just takes too long to dry. And you got this little brush right here. And it's this easy. You just kind of put it all over this stuff right here, okay? You get a good amount. You want to make sure it's nice and even, because that way you're going to get a better adhesion to the patches. So while I'm doing this, stuff kind of smells, honestly. You can definitely tell it's got a decent chemical makeup to it. So who might want to do this? Well, you know, obviously I work in some capacity, so I use this with my department patches because we didn't get the hooks on the back. So I want to be able to wear them and put them like on my combat shirts and stuff like that at work. And then the other one is I collect vintage patches as well. Some of them are like the old morale patches that are kind of funny. And back in the day, it wasn't really common for them to put Velcro on the back of them. That's something that just kind of started happening recently in modern history. So if you find some old patches that you have, maybe some heirlooms, things like that, and you want to kind of wear them on the daily and rock them out, it's an option for you. All right. So there's patch number 1. You can see here, I just got a decent amount of coverage on there. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing to this patch. Kind of nasty sound, wasn't it? We had a secure stitch fart. Where'd the cap on it? So I'm going to shake it up a little bit just to make sure I'm not running too thin. I've done a few of these in the past and I've had really good luck with it. And that's why I'm kind of showing you guys how this works. I didn't want to just do something blind and not give you guys some good advice. Once you're able to do this, though, it really kind of changes how you think about things, and you're like, oh man, I really buy that patch, except it didn't have the hooks on the back, and now I'm kind of bummed out about that, so I don't want to get it. When you get this process down, it doesn't take long at all. It's really easy, as you guys can see. It's really about just the even distribution and some time for setup, and kind of do them in batches. That's what I try to do, because otherwise, if you want to do this one at a time, it's kind of cumbersome, but we're going to do 2 here. Then, like I said, once I get this thing all set up, kind of evenly distributed here, we're going to get it ready to rock. All right, we're looking pretty good here. All right. All right, what I recommend then is actually bringing this over here now and getting ready, because this Velcro is going to want to, for lack of better words, roll up and curl on you, even with those patches. The one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to get that glue on the front side of the patch, because then it'll get into the fabric, and especially some fabrics it could stain. So I guess like anything, if like when you're doing carpet treating and all that kind of stuff, you always want to make sure that you test it out on a non-conspicuous surface first, and especially if you don't have any backing on these patches. Most patches have some level of a backing on them. You guys can see here, this is like fly paper, right? So I'm going to take one patch here. I'm going to be really careful. Make sure you lay it flat. And the other thing is, even though we're going to be putting these boards on both sides of it, I want to make sure that I get this on here as flat as possible from the get-go. All right. No air bubbles, no nothing. All right. Don't worry about all the stuff on the other side. I guess I should have said I was really careful, but make sure you don't have any of that glue on the front side. You could get into the embroidering of the patch if that's an issue for you as well. All right. So I've got that one on there. And I'm going to take this side here and do the exact same thing. I'm going to try and be slick about it and kind of roll it on here. All right, this is really good right here, you guys. Oh, that's actually just fabric. Never mind. I thought I actually just got some of that glue out and it was going to spread everywhere else, which is a bad thing, all right? Okay. All right, so I've got these on. Now what I'm going to do is I grab the paper that I peeled off. The reason I'm going to do this is because that goes on this back on here really well. And if there's any glue overspray, it won't get on the wood that I'm going to put underneath it, okay? Just a little kind of a trick. Plus, it allows you to get a non-stick surface here, which is a biggie. All right. So I ripped a little bit too much of it off. It doesn't matter. All right, so next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get this. I'm gonna put these 2 pieces of wood right here. You guys can kind of understand what's going on now. We're gonna get a sandwich going, all right? Try and even it up to make sure that you've got a nice flat surface, that you don't have it balled up underneath there. And then from here on out, it's pretty darn easy. Just take your clamps. lock them down. You don't want to put too much pressure. The whole idea here is not to crush the living tar out of them. It's to get a nice even pressure for about 24 hours. So it's going to do two things. It's going to let that glue set. And then the other thing that it's going to do is that it's going to straighten it out and flatten it out. So when it dries, we have a nice flat patch when it's not going to curl up on you or anything like that. All right. So tighten it down. All right. We're nice and secure there. What's nice about using a heavier duty clamp like this too, obviously you guys can see this is a heavy duty cutting board. It just bends it right like that and I don't have to worry about it. But now we've got these two patches under there, they're pressed in there. We're just gonna wait. I'm gonna come back tomorrow. You'll probably see me in different clothes in the same video. We're gonna pull these things off and then we're gonna cut them and we're gonna be good to go. All right, I told you this is gonna be a quick video. All right, guys, I am back. It is day 2. We're going to get ready to open this up, see what our work looks like. And I did bring one more piece of household item out. It's just a box cutter. We're going to use it to cut the Velcro away and see how it works. That was a little excessively noisy. All right. These look great. You guys can see here, these are nice and flat, right on that loop. Let's just cut away. Stuff is super sticky though. You might want to try and get up underneath it, kind of like a little bit of an angle too, I guess is one way to think about it. So you're not cutting the embroidery on the side of your patch. If you do, if you work, it can be prone to fraying on the edges. Whoop, don't want to go that way. All right. I'm just going to cut that away so I don't risk turning that too much more. Okay. Who knew arts and crafts can be so much fun? Make sure you just take your time and do this too. It's not a race. And this might not be the most exciting part of the video, but I want to show you guys what it takes and what it looks like. I mean, it's not rocket science, pretty easy, but let's kind of clean up some of the edges from the other side. There we go. Rock and roll. Just kind of hold up the light, see if you got any black showing out. The reason you kind of want to do this too is because you want to make sure that you're not leaving any of that adhesive behind where it could just kind of accumulate dust and stuff like that, if you know what I mean. So, all right, there's one completely done. You got one nice big sheet on there, and it is permanently bound with this secure stitch. So putting it down, clamping it down, super important part of the process. And letting it sit too. Who knew arts and crafts could be so much fun? All right. Here's my St. Michael the Archangel, all done. All right, guys, that's really it for this one. I'm going to bring more stuff like this, these little tips and tricks, a lot of this DIY stuff. You know, a lot of the airsoft community, I think, has done a lot to kind of try and do replicas and stuff like that. And just a lot of the adhesives and some of the processes have just gotten better to where you can do this pretty easily and knock it out pretty quick. If you just have the time and a little bit of the household utility stuff around, it becomes a super easy project. No gaps, no nothing. Looks great. That's it for this one, guys. Like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. You got any other tips or tricks, things that you want me to put on video, just let me know. Follow me on the gram at Instagram and hit the bell to get notified. And that's it. Until next time, guys, stay safe.